Hello, Patchwork Husband here. Welcome to Studio 39 in Baldock. I'm in the workroom. When you go on holiday, do you find you get up at the crack of sparrow, you arrive bleary-eyed at the airport, you have the full English, you get on the plane and you think, what I like now is a nice sleep. But you can't sleep, can you? Because the seats are so uncomfortable. And even if you go out at a reasonable time, when you come home, it's the middle of the night and you get on the plane and you think, I'd like a nice sleep. But you can't, because the seats are so uncomfortable. Well, I've taken steps. I've got a project. The aeroplane pillow. So PH Cam is running and the Patchwork Husband is going to do some sewing. I know what you're thinking. Does he know what he's doing? Well, of course he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's surrounded by people who do. And using the magic of video editing, he's going to make it seem as if he's competent. Here we go. So, I must stop starting my sentence with so. Here are the component parts of my project. I've got the inflatable cushion. I can't remember for sure where I got it from. It may have come from Monarch Airlines, or it might have been bought in Tesco's. A zip. Some wadding. And the fabric. Now I've cut these out to fit. I've still got one to do, which is marked up and ready to go. I thought I'd show you the marker I'm using, which we thoroughly recommend. We sell these. It's a ceramic lead marker. In fact, I'll do a close-up. But it's actually a propelling pencil with a ceramic lead. They come in all kinds of colours. So we've got yellow, pink, green, white. So you can use a contrasting colour for whatever colour fabric you're marking. And it's just like using a pencil. There's your mark. I hope you can see that. And if you don't like your mark and put it in the wrong place, you can just rub it out. Marvellous. If you haven't got one of these, you need to get yourself one. That's the last piece of fabric cut out. As you've probably worked out, I'm using the inflatable pillow as a template to cut the pieces. I've got a reasonable seam allowance around it. We're going to have the zip in the top there, and then I'm going to be quilting a crosshatch pattern with this variegated thread to attach the fabric to the wadding. To hold it in place, we're going to temporarily glue it with the good old 505 adhesive. The reason that we're attaching the fabric to the wadding before we quilt it is it would otherwise tend to rack up and we wouldn't get a nice finish. You could hand baste it. I'm not going to do that because that involves hand sewing. Much more to my taste is the use of the 505 adhesive, which is a temporary repositionable adhesive. I'm prepared to use it. I've put down some bubble wrap so that we don't get the glue on anything that we don't want to. The room is well ventilated, so we're ready to stick the fabric to the wadding. We've been experimenting with different size of grid for the cross hatch quilting, and we've decided that an inch is probably going to look quite nice. So in preparation for sewing the first line, we found the longest piece on the work and marked it with this Hera marker. I've got a walking foot on the sewing machine. Monica, what's a walking foot?
A walking foot is designed to evenly feed 2 or more layers of fabric through your machine.
I'll edit that bit out. Maintain the illusion. A walking foot is used to evenly feed 2 layers of fabric through the sewing machine. Right, enough talking. Now I've actually got to do some sewing. So here we go. We've got the machine running nice and slowly for the inexperienced sewer. And it actually feeds itself through the machine because I'm using the walking foot. So you can see that's almost straight. I'm quite pleased with that. Now for the next one. The walking foot has this little guide. I'll perhaps do a close-up in a moment, but if I line up the guide, which is set 1 inch from the needle, then I can use the guide to follow the first line, and in theory I'll get an exactly parallel second line, so let's give that a go. Needle down, make sure the threads are to the back, and off we go. Oh, I've forgotten to put the foot down. So I'm going to try that again. Needle down, foot down, and off we go. So this is what a walking foot looks like. It's quite a bulky beast. This thing goes up and down with the sewing machine, and that drives the feed mechanism. So there we are, 2 lines, and what's more, they're parallel. So I'm extra pleased with that. So I'm going to carry on doing that, and while I'm doing that, I want to show you the fabric range that this fabric has come from. The fabric that I made my pillow from comes from a range called The Kids Are All Right, which, if memory serves, is the name of a Who song, isn't it? We think it lends itself to making a baby quilt. Can you see what it says? Dream big, little one. We've got baby pink for a girl with a matching gingham. Baby blue for a boy, again with a matching gingham. If you're making one in advance before the birth and don't know the gender of the baby, we've got a gender neutral grey with a matching gingham. And then we've got these marvellous piggy designs that go with it. So you've got a blue and pink pigs, which would go with the blue one or the pink one. Or blue and yellow pigs, which would go with the blue or the grey. There you have it. The Kids Are All Right. The range comes from a company called Kingfisher Fabrics, who used to be known as So Simple Fabrics, and they're extremely good value at just $10.99 a metre. So I've completed my cross hatch quilting. I'm quite pleased with that. The next step is to put the zip in. So I pinned the zip in what I believe to be the right place. I've changed the foot for a zipper foot, which has got a gap to let the zip go through. So I'll have a go at sewing it on. I'm not going to film the first bit. I'll treat it as a practice, and I'll show you the second one. So that's the first side of the zip, and that's not too bad actually. So buoyed by that, I'll pin up the second side, and this time I'll film it. The first one, I pinned the zip to the fabric. This time I'm going to try these binding clips. I'll let you know which I think is easier. I've done a couple of inches, and now I can completely unzip it. and that will make it easier to sew the rest, in theory. Done. Well, I can report that I prefer the clips because I didn't stab myself at all. And there's our zipper fitted. I'll zip that up. You can see that's quite neat actually. Onwards and upwards. So I'm going to go for sewing round the edge now. I've got a different foot on the sewing machine now, a 1/4 inch foot, which has got a guide at approximately a 1/4 inch. So I just need to keep the fabric against the guide, and in theory I will have a 1/4 inch seam. Let's see if that's true. This is really tricky around that tight bend. And there's an even tighter one coming up. Well, I've sewn around it, so now all I have to do is turn it inside out and see if it fits. So I'll do that now. Well, I put it in and I've blown it up and I've zipped it up, and I think that's come out quite nicely. I'm quite pleased with that. It's quite neat. Can you see what it says? Dream big, little one. There you are.